Well, I'm live, and mostly because I'm annoyed. So I really wanted to share this. Actually, I just really needed to rap and just chat and see if anybody else is annoyed or dealing with any issues. I'm just finishing up at the VA, and not just finishing up. I left the VA, and I'm driving back to teach at 6 o'clock this evening. So I was in a great mood today. I started out the day, I got some beautiful insights. I had a hypnotherapy appointment the other day that I'll share about on my page. You know, if you're a veteran, it's really discouraging when you're low income as it is and you're living off of your disability. My disability is about $13,000 a year. And apparently I make too much now that they've changed the income eligibility rules for what is considered, oh boy, people are going to cause an accident. Sorry, because I got you on hands-free though. Eligibility for what they call a travel waiver, because you have to pay a copay, even though I'm 60% disabled and I shouldn't have to according to the old rules. The rules have changed. I'm just going to tell you this. They do this all the time. They change the rules. They don't tell anybody. You don't know about it until you'll see it in your income, you see it in your pay or lack thereof. So I was told last November to always check when I go to sign for my travel reimbursement when I go to different appointments. Because sometimes what will happen is the actual travel department, they don't know what appointment you went to, but they'll look at where you're coming from and if you could have gotten another appointment in the same department or facility closer to where you live. So they'll pay you only to where they think you should have gone versus the fact that maybe your appointment could only be in Tampa. And so you got to be really, really aware. You got to be like diligent and check your stuff, check your paperwork. Because if you don't, then you could be shortchanged. And this is my annoyance with the VA and the way that the system is set up. They anticipate, get you on some drugs, some antidepressants, some something awareness, prescription drugs and things like that, so that you're not in your full capacity and awareness of what's really going on. So you overlook and you don't see the changes in your pay or the lack thereof. And as a result, you are trying to figure out, why am I not getting enough money? I was supposed to get this, let's say I'm supposed to get $28 for going to Tampa, and all of a sudden now I'm being told, oh, that's right, you're no longer eligible because you make too much money. $13,000 a year, the IRS says that's not too much money. And so I got to pay a deductible. Now, $12 a month doesn't seem like much to most people. But when you really, in the grand scheme of things, are trying to budget and, you're already taking care of a household and your bills and everything else, it's a struggle. So imagine, and I'm not cutting anybody down, but this is how it is. I made some smart decisions, so I own my house. The guy turned around and he says, well, you could check with HUD. There's a HUD availability to help you with your housing situation. I looked at him and said, probably not if you own your house. And he looked at me and says, no. So, you either got to be hardcore, like really not making any money, homeless, which if you're following Tom, you see how many resources are out there for people who are homeless. And people wonder why people they choose to be homeless, because there's so much available. I mean, you can go homeless and have everything provided for you, and you don't have to want. So I'm not discounting that, but at the same time, it's like one or the other. You got to be extreme on this end or extreme on that end. But if you're in the middle and you're just making ends meet, as they say, and you're constantly grasping, try to figure out how you're going to make it to the next month, and I'm not indulging in anything. It's discouraging, disparaging. It's annoying as, excuse my French, fuck. Because I feel like ultimately, and I was really in a good mood, and I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? Now they changed the rules. Last year I was able to get the waiver. I haven't changed. I haven't gotten any more money, and now I'm being told, oh, you make too much money. Oh, I'm sorry, $13,000 is apparently too much money because I only get 60% disability. And that doesn't seem like much to many people. Or maybe it does seem like a lot to some people, I don't know. But, you know, where I'm sitting at and what I'm budgeting and prioritizing and what I pay every month, I mean, I do well with what I've got. That seems, for some people, couldn't do it. You try paying for 2 people on $13,000 a year, you know? And then, you know, people don't think about the additional responsibility of having a pet or children. So I totally feel for anybody out there who struggles with a low income, a low wage, especially if you have a family to provide for. And maybe you don't have other income coming in and you're the only provider. I mean, really sit with that for a moment. You may be doing great out there. God bless you. And I've done really well in my past. It's what allows me to live in a house that's paid for, but I still got to pay for the electricity and the water. I'm just really frustrated because, I mean, I feel pretty validated and justified in getting upset about this because it wasn't until I went to go sign my voucher, my travel voucher, that I was like, oh, $6 off. Okay, this probably means I need to go check with the travel. And one person will tell you one thing and another person will tell you another. One person will tell you we can't, you know, they can't backdate it. Another person says, yes, we can. And I was trying to get it resolved, and I was for sure certain that I was eligible for the travel waiver. And then to be told no because you make too much money. I made what, $100 more than whatever the maximum. In fact, I've got that paperwork right in front of me. Based on income paperwork. VA pension threshold, $13,752 or less. You know what? If I hadn't have said I made a couple, you know, what is it, less than $2,000 on my teaching yoga, maybe I would have qualified. But it's pretty damn disgusting, isn't it? Am I wrong in feeling this way? Stressed out, frustrated. Keep people in that mentality, and then they wonder where you got veterans who are depressed, anxious, trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills. Because even the VA is shortchanging them on a monthly deductible. I mean, really, let's ask the question. What is the purpose of the deductible with the VA when the majority of the people aren't seeking the treatment nor getting the treatment, and all the money that is funded to the VA, there's a huge amount that I'm certain that doesn't get accounted for by the end of the year. I'm sure that their pocket of money doesn't run out, is my point. And it's disgusting. It's extremely disgusting. Now, I went there for an appointment specifically for wellness, my pain management, and the stuff that I've been struggling with as it is. And then to turn around and get that thrown in my face that, oh, you make too much money. I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously? Oh, I'm like, and then I lost an earring. It dropped out of my ear this morning. You know, this isn't the end of the world, but it's aggravating. Especially when you want to do so much more. You know, and I was sitting with the woman at the, trying to go through this, and I'm like, you know, I watched Tom's videos and I learned about, you know, the VA homeless situation and how wonderful they've got it. And I've lost a lot of my desire to even be bothered with submitting my disability. Do you know, I've been for years working on my disability package, just trying to get the disabilities recognized. I have IBS. It's debilitating. I don't know if there's a correlation. Maybe that's the reason I ended up with appendicitis. Maybe it's connected to the IBS. Because the constipation for me is debilitating. I can be doubled over in pain. And it gets frustrating because it's like, I sometimes don't want to leave the house, but I get up and I still do my thing. I get up, I do my practice as best as I can. Though I will tell you, recently it's gotten cold here in Florida, so I don't even want to get out of bed because it's so frigid. Frigid, I should say. I have Raynaud's on top of that. So it's an autoimmune disease where essentially I get so cold it's in my bones. My fingers, extremities especially, my fingers, I can feel a draft. I always have a scarf around my neck. I literally will sleep under the covers in my bed because I have an old house, so I don't have insulation, and it comes through the windows and it comes through the walls. And it costs more money to heat my house because of that. I don't have an efficient heating air conditioning system. My windows need to be replaced. My walls aren't insulated. These are the little things that, I own my house, and a lot of people, they struggle to pay a rent or maybe even a mortgage. But the reality is there's still always something with home ownership to have to get done. So I'm stressed out because I've got a house that, when I have to use the heating system, requires more electricity. And of course, ironically, they put in these smart meters, which I need to write a letter about. And the smart meters, they claimed it's supposed to reduce your electric. And I seem to have noticed my electric bill's gone up too. All of this stuff. Exactly. Thank you, Jamie. They wonder why veterans get as aggressive as they do and get so stressed out, frustrated. Hypertension, high blood pressure. It's like, you didn't just fuck me. You fucked me once, you fucked me twice, and now you're really going in for it. I'm in that mood right now. I'm getting this out now because I sometimes know that I need to speak about things and how I feel. And guess what? There is nothing wrong with what anybody feels. It's whether or not you know how to emotionally regulate and sit with that feeling. The only way we can heal it is to feel it. And you probably hear me say it all the time. It's not for me to get upset and change what it is I'm feeling or to suppress it. I am willing to own and sit with whatever it is I feel. I feel pretty damn validated and upset, and how I'm going through this. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, and if you have any questions or any solutions or ideas, suggestions, I am totally open to it. So please, in the comments, let me know. Do you have any suggestions? Do you know anything I should be able to do? I'm stressed out because I'm trying to figure out, I want to be able to serve. I want to be able to, start my own business and do all this stuff. But if I'm making $13,000 a year and I'm getting shortchanged on my travel just to get to my appointments, of which I don't make as many because half the time it gets pushed out, months, because we have snowbirds that what we call double dip. They come down here and they got plenty of coverage where they live. Here in the Tampa area, those of us who live here, we have to wait months at a time to get into appointments because there are people that come down as snowbirds and can get both, where they live up north and where they, when they come down here. And I'm just sitting there going, it'd be nice if I could just get my normal appointments. And I, as a woman, because I can only speak from my experience, I've had plenty of guys tell me, oh, you should go talk to this one or talk to that one, because they got help from them. And then those same people that they got help from kind of look at me with that, what's your problem? Like as if a woman who served didn't have some form of trauma or what have you. So I'm stressed out about a whole lot of stuff regarding the whole VA system. I'm really just pissed off about it. I didn't expect to waste another 2 hours at this facility to be told that I made too much money, and that now, because they've changed the rules, I now don't qualify for the waiver on the travel pay monthly deductible. Oh, we all pay that. Yeah, but some people have an actual subsidized income as opposed to living just off their disability. And it's disgusting. Oh, you should be happy and grateful for what you have. You know what? Fuck you. I don't need that passive-aggressive response. And I feel quite dignified in speaking up and saying, I don't think it's justified and I don't think it's right. That any veteran who is already struggling should have to feel like they should be grateful. And I am grateful for what I have. For basically being shortchanged once again. It's aggravating. So, you know, going back to what I was just saying, I was sitting, this is what came from me this morning, and I thought it was really beautiful, and I'll do another video when I calm down later, because this is me just unloading. I sometimes need to vent. I know I'm not the only one. I'm human. I have feelings. And guess what? We're all allowed to feel the feelings if we're willing to feel the feelings instead of trying to, you know, oh, well, I understand the situation. It's not their fault. Don't suppress it. No, do not disempower yourself or dismiss your feelings just because you understand why someone did something or why the situation is the way it is. Own those feelings, honor those feelings, accept them, and be with them. And if you got to express them, just do it. That's what I'm doing right now. I mean, the reality is I just get so discouraged, even bothering, that I don't even want to be bothered. And I know I'm not the only one. And I've been pushing this for years. And it's exhausting because it takes a lot out of you to have to drive. In my case, I have to drive sometimes 2 hours just to get to Tampa and back. And it doesn't count if that's, you know, traffic could be more or less. So I've got all these different things going on. I got to live a life. If I had a full-time job, that would be aggravating even more. But I do have to arrange it according to, you know, I teach yoga. Doesn't make very much money. But that's something I do to serve. It also is part of my own, not just giving back, but when I give, I receive. And I see that. So these things are just like, I understand those of you out there, when you get discouraged, you need to vent it. You need to sit with it. And you should feel good with what you feel. It doesn't have to be a good feeling. As we say in all of the Beyond Addiction programs and the, you know, a lot of the community, the programs that I'm a part of, it's not about feeling good. It's about being good at feeling. And the most important thing about feelings don't need to be destructive, internally or externally. And so when we have a situation that aggravates us, it's okay to get upset. It's okay to express yourself. As long as you're mindful enough to recognize this is not directed toward a person or a situation, because it's not about them. It's about you just, you know, owning that stuff, owning those feelings. We are matter. We are physical beings. We are solid matter. We matter. Each and every one of us. And if you have an emotion that comes up, that's got to be energy emotion. That's going to like shake up some shit. Because it's like, oh, wait, this is moving energy. You're a physical mass of matter. So you are solid. And then here comes this moving energy, this emoting energy, emotions, to disrupt all of your cells that are tightly knit together. No wonder you need to feel it to heal it, because if you turn around and you try to dismiss it, it's just going to lodge itself in your body like daggers and create all that dis-ease, all that discomfort. It's going to make you even more upset and agitated because tension needs your attention. It causes aggression. Thank you. But the truth is, no matter what is going on in the world, it's not about what's going on. It's how you're responding, how you're feeling into it. You're affected by it, and owning your part and being with it and being okay with that, no matter what it is and what it looks like and what it feels like. Our emotions are not meant to be destructively, projectile vomit on someone or something. Yeah, you can express yourself to somebody in a calm way, but you first need to sit with it, because if it comes up like it is for me right now, for example, and you see I'm upset, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm not going to attack them. I'm just talking it out. That's why I know for me as a woman, and most of my goddess women friends, we talk amongst ourselves, because I think it's, what did I say? 80% of what you say is meant for you to hear. So I know when I talk something out, I'm listening to myself as I talk, because I'm going to gain my own insight with my own words. I hear my words. I know my wisdom is going to come out in what I say. I know I'm going to gain and glean like nuggets of, oh, okay, this is, maybe I'll find my solution as I talk. That's how I always had conversations with my mother. I would call her up and I'd express what I was going through, and then I'd hear in my own words exactly what I needed to hear to get through it. And don't ever let anybody tell you shouldn't feel a certain way. I know that's triggering for most of us. When someone tells you shouldn't feel a certain way, just because maybe they didn't intend for that or they didn't mean for that, that's not what they meant. Don't tell someone or try to invalidate their feelings. If anything, just step back, breathe. Whether you're the giver, the receiver of the information that caused the trigger, the reality is we all have triggers that we need to become more mindful of and notice how they affect us physically, emotionally, mentally, because they all come up in ways like, oh my gosh, warmth in my chest and in my face. When I feel that warmth, I'm like, oh, something came up. My stomach starts doing flip-flops. Ooh, that's not good. Or, tingles, like, oh, ooh, I felt that crawl up my head. Like, that could be a validation. But it's also something to recognize, because we all have some symptom of the past. Now the question is whether or not it's intuitively guiding us, because we talked about that this weekend. We have an internal GPS. It's called our body. And as I was leading part of the morning of our Beyond Addiction this past weekend, I was expressing, we got to move the body. If you're somebody who sits sedentary and you got a lot of pent-up anger and frustration, you need to move your body. You need to dance. I don't care. Go out in nature, walk. I don't care if you think you're immobile. You need to get your shit together and move that body. Because if you are stuck, it's because you need to move. Because here's the thing. Emotions, triggers in all the old past trauma, it gets lodged in the body. It's somatic. It becomes habitual and you don't even realize it on an unconscious level. And when it's lodged in your body, you got to get that shit out. And the only way to do it is to move the body. So you got to find some form of movement, whether it's swimming, and you know what? That's a beautiful thing. Get in the water. Have an Epsom salt bath. Get on a bike. Take a walk. Take a dance class. Exercise on a treadmill or a stepping machine or an aerobics class or a bar class or yoga, whatever it is. You got to find what works for you, but you got to move your body. Because the more you move the body, the more you move the crap. And you got to change it up. And I know a lot of people, if you haven't tried Kundalini Yoga, we do so much movement to balance the hemispheres of the brain. It doesn't have to make sense. You just got to know it's changing up physical habituation. Because you need to release emotions through the somatic movement, soma, body. The body moves to disrupt the mind, to disrupt the physical habituation of the mind. If you listen to Joe Dispenza, he talks about if you have a pattern, let's say every morning you're driving to work and you're used to being stuck in traffic at certain times. And when you're stuck in traffic, you're used to getting tense, right? Your body gets tense. You're upset because of this one cutting you off and that one cutting you off. So you're anticipating this type of way of being physically. And like it's because it's habitual, it's happened for so long. Now you need to change up that pattern. So once you change up that pattern, because you're neurologically already wired into it, once you change up the pattern, it's going to take a little bit of time before you kind of soften out of that place of, oh wow, I'm not sitting in traffic. That's where meditation. You could be meditating at a time that you're used to being tensed up, and your body's kind of like freaking out because the body was responding to the mind, and now you got to go backwards. You got to reverse engineer. You got to move the body differently to switch up and like disrupt the mind stuff that created the tension in the body. It's a crazy thing, but it's so simple, yet we make it so hard and difficult. So I started this off basically frustrated, and I don't even know how I'm going to handle this. I've got the stress of still trying to pursue my disability package, of which got disrupted during the summer of 2018 when my mother passed away. I was waiting over 2 years, for a response on whether or not they were going to have a board look at my paperwork. I didn't get the message. But then when I did get it, it was late. And then when I responded to it, apparently I missed the deadline by like a couple, I don't know, it was something like, it was less than a week or 10 days, I don't remember. And I was the letter, and I proceeded to send another letter saying, could you please just reconsider this? I was really frustrated. And they basically said, well, you missed the deadline. So they dismissed me. And I got discouraged back then too. And this is where I'm at. And this is where I've been for the past couple years. Is this discouragement of constantly trying to get paperwork that I've been working on since 2006, people. It is 2020. I submitted, and it was late when I submitted it. And I didn't know the process back then. And the process has apparently changed significantly. I mean, it's supposed to be a lot better than it used to be. A lot of my own personal PTSD stuff. They see. Here's the thing. You call it PTSD, they turn around and say you don't have PTSD. But they don't tell you what it really is. Because then you go to another person and they'll say, well, no, you don't have PTSD the way that they define it, but what you do have is a trauma, and it's called this. So what you need to do, and this I only just learned this recently, is you need to basically go back and submit for this, not the PTSD. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So no matter what you look at it as, it's all about the wording, which goes back to the whole system of you got to say the right words, you got to know, but they don't volunteer it to you. They don't volunteer it because, God forbid, they'd help you. No, in fact, the people they got sitting behind the desks, who they hire and train to misplace paperwork and put things on a shelf, in a closet, all this stuff, if you know about the history of the VA and how the paperwork has been sitting collecting dust, aggravating people, it's very aggravating. You got to know the system, and there's a lot of ways around it, and I just hadn't had the time to sit with it more, and to do your own due diligence, it requires a lot. It does. And I watch people who've gotten help, and I need to ask for help. That's really what it boils down to. I don't even have the energy. I'm so exhausted for having done so much that I have done already to be denied. I went through all of my paperwork and highlighted everything that needed to be done when originally the guy that dropped the ball back in 2011 is when I went back to Italy to work for a year and a half, and I came back in 2013, and he proceeded to tell me how, oh, you're lucky you got what you got. And then he realized, oh, shoot, I didn't even look at the stuff you had in the system and all the paperwork you left me. It's like, totally dropped the ball on me. But this guy was supposedly the best guy, according to all the guys that recommended him to me and referred me to him. And of course, what do you do there? You know? So I just need somebody to help me with my paperwork so that I can just get it done. Because, for example, my IBS, the way they do the rating system, interestingly enough, the rating system, they give you the minimum rating on whatever disability you have. My IBS being debilitating is not at the maximum for IBS. And like I said, I don't know if maybe that contributed to my appendicitis and the appendectomy and all that. I'm just talking this out because I just don't know. I don't have all the answers. So, I don't know. If you have any suggestions, if you know anybody in the Tampa Bay, Clearwater area who helps veterans, who wants to help me with some paperwork, and take the stress off of me, because I got other things I want to be worried about and concerned with. I don't want to have to keep on following up 14 plus years later doing the same thing I've been doing. Yes, I still need to get my dental work taken care of. Isn't that interesting? I wouldn't want at this point, I wouldn't want the VA doing my dental work. They still use mercury fillings, which are filled with, you know, all sorts of stuff that's neurotoxin. It's harmful to the brain. You don't want metal in your mouth. It goes directly to your brain, and then whatever it doesn't go to the brain ends up in your organs, ends up in your tissues, and creates more inflammation. Yeah. So I love you, and I'm so grateful for you all just listening and just witnessing me, because I'm just human. I've had a very frustrating day on top of what seemed like a really insightful, intuitive awareness, which I still have. I just needed to get this out. And then, you know, I'm going to be much better here now. So I love you. Like I said, reach out to me if you got any suggestions. I am all ears and open to receiving the assistance. And I'll try to go live later and share more on the hypnotherapy that I had done, which was amazing. And I love you all very much. See you later.